Welcome to Clash After Dark. I'm your host, Warblade, and tonight on the show, this is episode 8, and we have Reddit Raiders. We have Frank the Tank, leader of Reddit Raiders. Welcome to the show, Frank.
Thank you.
And we have Various, co-leader of Reddit Raiders. Welcome to the show, Various.
Thank you.
So, normally I like to start the show off and just get to know you guys a little bit better, and so Frank, can you go ahead and tell us a little about yourself, where you are in the game, and what got you into Clash?
Yeah, sure. I am currently Town Hall 10. I made the transition from 9.5 maybe about a month or so ago, and so I'm slowly working my way up to max 10. I decided to work on my Royals first, since the attacking and whatnot at Town Hall 10 requires a lot more firepower. I actually got into Clash, right around the end of 2013. I had seen a couple commercials here and there about the game, and it didn't really, draw my attention really until I guess around Christmas for me. I had some downtime. I downloaded the game, started playing it. Yeah, I was a pretty big noob back then. I rushed probably to Town Hall 7 before I really got, I guess, hooked in. Started reading online about how to optimize farming and how to build my base correctly and everything. And from then, I was pretty much entrenched in the game at that point. I started reading, got onto Reddit. Joined up with the Reddit clans, and the rest is history.
Cool. Yeah, I found my way onto the Reddit clan system as well. They're a pretty good group.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I was looking for other people who were as passionate and interested in the game as I was, and I really liked the aspect of talking about the game, discussing different aspects of it, having a large community to be a part of. All those things really drew me in.
All right, Various, how about you?
I started about the same time as Frank, right at the end of the year 2013, like the day before New Year's. Like, I saw a commercial when we were out eating sushi, and I was like, oh, I gotta try that. And then I got really hooked on it. Got a couple of my friends really hooked on it, and then it became like a thing at the company I worked at where my entire team played it, and it actually became an interview question for us if people played Clash of Clans. And worked my way through it for about the last year and a half. I'm a max hero, Town Hall 10, max defense, and have about 40 walls left to max out, and then I'm pretty much done. But I have a mini I've been working on a little bit, and hopefully that'll get into Raiders in a few months here, and I can enjoy Town Hall 9 again.
Nice. Yeah, it's definitely been a grind going into 10. It must be nice to see that light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh yeah, it does. It was a much closer light, and then that update came out with the new walls, and I was like, are you kidding me? Now I gotta do this like 25 again, and you do the math, and you're like, that's a lot of gold to grab.
Yeah, I'm so there with you. Yeah, the guys are just lighting it up in chat. You got a guy in here, Frank's biggest fanboy, I guess.
I didn't know I had any.
You do now.
And Wifet's in the chat saying she's the biggest fangirl, so.
She is.
So we'll start with Various this time. What's your average day of Clash like? I mean, are you playing at work? Are you playing it when you get home? I mean, when are you squeezing in your Clash?
I hope my boss or someone from my team never hears this. If I work from home a couple days of the week, so when I'm working from home, like I got one iPad up, a couple monitors going over here, and I'm like flipping back and forth between like my personal computer on GroupMe with the clan, working on my other computer, and then I got like an iPad going where I'm like constantly raiding like those 2-3 days a week that I work from home. And then if I'm in the office, I can't touch it because I'm in a pretty locked down environment where people are scary. And that's pretty much it. I'll Clash when I come home, and on the weekend, get a good boost session in, do whatever I can.
That's cool. How about you, Frank? How are you clashing?
You know, I used to clash a little bit more during the day. I was a graduate student, and so I had a lot more downtime during the day, and so I would, throw in a boost here and there. But I really don't like farming unboosted, and so unless I can sit down and play for 2 hours, I don't usually farm or play very much. I will, check in game and chat it up with the clan or hit the collectors a little bit, or if we're in a big war like we've been in recently, I'll check in on that. Um, but most of my clashing is in the evening, or much to my wife's chagrin, in the evening while we're watching TV. Usually, I'll throw in a couple of boosts, and then weekends especially, a couple boosts during the weekend.
I think it definitely helps. I've become single in the last few months. I've been playing a lot more.
Yeah, my fiance really got mad at me for a long time, and I had to really cut back. Which now I do the streaming, so she's like, "Oh, you're streaming again tonight?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yep." She's like, "You play that game all the time?" It's like, no, I don't. I don't play the game nearly as much as I used to.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like the game slows down a little bit at Town Hall 10. I had maybe a 2 week period between jobs where I really cranked out the hero levels, and after that I've really slowed down because the heroes are most important at Town Hall 10. So I've been able to slow down, and that's helped get my wife off my back a little bit.
Yeah, that definitely helps. I've definitely cut back on my clash time, and I've found a few things that seem to help out. Get a couple chores done before, I get on the stream or something like that. Try to pay a little attention to her before the stream. So try to keep her happy. The happy wife, happy life thing.
That's very true.
All right, so Frank, you're the leader of Reddit Raiders. Can you tell me about the clan and how did it get started? Where's it at now? As
Yeah.
far as levels and wins and stuff.
Yeah, so actually, when Reddit Raiders started, I was in another Reddit clan at the time. I was in Reddit Strike, and it was actually one of the former elders of Reddit Strike had left to start Reddit Raiders. I guess the goal was to make a more adult-oriented clan that was a little bit more competitive and had a little bit less of the emphasis on socializing that Reddit Strike had. And so, for a while, the Raiders within the um, Reddit clan system was one of the top competitive clans. Before wars came out, so they were really big into farming, really big into pushing for trophies during the Reddit competitions. And when wars came out, they transitioned to 3-star strategies. Maybe a few months after, and after a couple of tough losses to other Reddit clans, especially. I actually joined Raiders right around that time of that transition, shortly thereafter, from Reddit Strike. Reddit Strike kind of disbanded, and I was looking for a more serious clan, preferably an adult clan, and Raiders fit the bill. And so I joined, and I fit in immediately. I could tell, the guys were all my age, and so they had said similar interests, and they all were as passionate about the game as I was. They were, you would put up a CC request and it'd get filled in all of 5 seconds, which was novel to me. It was awesome. Um, and so I really, really, really liked it there, and there were awesome attackers in the clan already at the time, and so I was learning a whole lot about hogging and all of that. And so I was, promoted to elder maybe after 2 or 3 months in the clan. And at that time, Reels was the leader, the Loon Master himself, and we went through a period there where we were doing awesome. We faced tough some pretty tough clans. We actually matched clash heads at the time and held our own against them. This was back in February, I guess it was. And so, we were well on our way at that time. Real stepped down probably, I think it was in March or April, and I was promoted to leader. Um, really it was kind of an honor to be promoted. All of the other elders really vouched for me and really pushed me into the role, and I've loved it ever since. They've all been very, very supportive. And so since I've become leader, we've pushed more toward kind of a war-oriented clan. We still consider ourselves a competitive clan, and we differentiate ourselves from other war clans in a couple of ways. First, we do have a donation requirement, which is very uncommon amongst war clans, since the emphasis is more on warring. But we also want people who like to farm hard to be able to do so, and to get the CC troops and all of that. We also don't allow just casual opting out of wars for any reason. So in some respects, we're slightly less hardcore than a hardcore war clan, and in others, we're certainly require a little bit more activity in game relative to other clans. So we are an adult clan. You have to be at least the age of 18 to join, and we are obviously a little bit more war focused. So you should have some skill in that area as well. But we're currently a level 7 clan, and we're only a couple wars away there from level 8, which is pretty exciting. We've got 158 wins. The most recent one, which we wrapped up today against War Whales, was a tough war. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, that's where we're at today.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I've seen you guys got a really solid war record, and so I mean that speaks volumes. I mean, to have, what did you say, 153?
158.
158. My bad. Is just amazing. I mean, that's awesome, and to be almost level 8. I mean, that's what 10-minute troop requests and 8 troop donation.
Yep. Yeah, and then I think you get the extra loot storage as well, war loot storage.
We did have a question here in chat. I've got to scroll up. It's from M Johnson 241. It says, "What is the hardest thing about running an elite fair play clan, and how do you get good attackers in?"
Well, it's if you're starting from scratch, it's pretty difficult. But if you've got a core of knowledgeable players who know what they're doing and are very much willing to be patient and willing to teach others, and you can grow pretty rapidly. And so, again, when I first joined Raiders, I wasn't a great attacker by any definition. There were already several stellar performers here in Raiders, and so I learned a lot from them. Various is one of them. He may downplay it, but he's a monster in wars. And so I learned from Various. I learned from Matt, another co-leader. I learned from Funk. A lot of the guys that are in leadership are actually, some of the guys I'm talking about. And so if you got a core there, again, that's patience, willing to teach other people, you can go pretty far. You just have to, you have to be patient. And then once you've got a strong, 30 to 35, then you've really got to, push yourself and seek out tough matchups, because you don't really get better at attacking by, facing anti-2-star bases or, farming clans, or, you really have to push yourself to face some of the better war clans, like One Hive, War Whales, FYSB, clans like that, who are really gonna test your abilities.
I think one of the things that also separates us from other war clans is they expect you to come into the clan and be able to 3-star, and we kind of do to a certain extent. But if we see something in someone, or if they show a certain ability, we'll take the time to teach them and bring them up and make them into basically a 3-star beast and part of our clan. And we seem to have really loyal people for doing that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if you got to be able to see some potential in people, because I mean, if somebody just comes in and throws down, a crappy attack is a crappy attack. But if they've got a solid plan and you can see that solid plan and it just needs a little tweaking, I mean, that makes a world of difference. And if they're willing to learn, that makes them that much better.
Absolutely. The other thing that's been really helpful, and we had to do this actually because of some chatty members in our clan. I won't say any names. Um, but we started a war room actually, where you're only allowed to talk about things related to war. And so we post bases there for base reviews. We post attack plans, anything about talking about meta, talking anything really about war related things goes on in that room, and it's great because we invite members not only of raiders but also members of rangers, our feeder, to go in there and just really immerse yourself in all of this information so you can learn and improve ultimately.
Very nice. All right, so you guys are both leaders in the clan, and you guys see. I know being a leader and stuff usually entails a lot of work and a lot of, I guess, negotiating and delegating different tasks. So what is your guys' favorite part of leading a war clan and your least favorite part? And Various, why don't you go ahead and take this one first?
It's got to be the competition and the winning. And like today, when you see like the entire clan come together in like the last 3 hours, and everyone's communicating and everyone's figuring out what bases to hit, who's going to hit what and where, and you see everything kind of mesh and meld together, and then we basically pull out in front and take the win. That's what's enjoyable for me when I see everyone come together. And even if we lose sometimes, it's still awesome when I see us and we do our best. And even when you do your best and you lose sometimes, it's still great to see the clan come together, basically.
Yeah, I mean, when you see everybody rally together, even if they don't win, I mean, that's just awesome. I mean, just everybody pulling together, trying to make it work, trying to pull off that win is just pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think I think we're all competitive type A people in the clan, and we kind of look for a certain personality type that will not only mesh with the group, because we never want to let people in that are a cancer and just cause drama, but we look for that certain type of personality and that drive that'll help grow the clan and grow each other within the team and help to make and strive and do everything better, so we can just, you never want to be stagnant. If you're stagnant, you're losing, you're falling behind the game. You always have to be learning with this game, figuring out the new max attack strategy or whatever may be the new flavor this month.
All right, Frank, how about you? What's your opinion on that?
Well, I feel the same way in many respects as Various. It's really it's galvanizing to see all members, and it's not just leadership. It's really all members really put all of their energy and effort into big wars. We have members who throughout the day they'll be working, or they'll take quote unquote bathroom breaks to help guys plan. We have guys who'll gem troops all day to make sure everyone has what they need. We have Eric, an elder, who will review every base and tear your base apart and make sure it's good to go. We get a lot of input from everyone, top to bottom, and really that's you have to have that, I think, to be successful, and to be successful in the long term. It will get tiring. It will burn you out if you're doing a lot of this stuff on your own. If there's only 2 or 3 people helping out, you're going to get tired real quickly, because warring as if you're competitive like we are is a big thing, and you want to win. You always want to win, and so if you have more help from members, elders, co-leaders, it makes it that much more enjoyable.
And I think like what the clan doesn't see a lot of the time is on the back end in the elder chat, like today in wars like this, we're talking so much, trying to strategize, figure out, do math, figure out how many things are left, and even doing that thing like that is really tiring and burns you out sometimes. But it's even great from there, just to see how much that we come together as elders and stuff like that. And the clan never sees that side of it, unfortunately, of how much we're gabbing and talking and spending hours doing all these things.
Yeah, I'm in a few of those back rooms myself, and it's amazing all the detail that goes into that most people don't see. Okay. Boy, you guys just bring a ton of people to the chat. I don't think I've ever seen the chat this active. So shout out to the chat here. Way to go, people. All right, Frank, I also see that Reddit Raiders is also affiliated with the Reddit Alliance clans. Can you tell me a little bit about the Reddit Alliance clans and a little bit about what they are and why you guys are with them?
Yeah, so the Reddit Alliance clans is really kind of an affiliation of several clans ranging from, hardcore war clans, Town Hall 9, Town Hall 10 mixed war clans, all the way down to, some Town Hall 8 mixed war clans, and also I think some Town Hall 7, and then also some more casual clans as well. And really, it started, I believe, when Reddit Kings and Reddit Royals left the Reddit clan system. After the Reddit clan system really kind of came down hard on having sister clans and feeders and all of that. And so they left to kind of form their own system where you would have a community to support all of the clans within it, but one that wasn't, to put it, to be PC about it, one that wasn't, driven by politics as much, perhaps as the RCS was, and so the Reddit Alliance really is an affiliation where the clans are all very supportive of one another. They help each other out in scrims, and the leaders exchange ideas all the time, and really each clan is within the system is allowed to be autonomous. So there are no system-wide rules per se. There's no required emblem or anything like that. It's just we're all looking to clash and clash the way we want to, while having the support of others who also enjoy playing the game like we do. We joined the Alliance, I think, as maybe a couple of months. Well, I don't even know how long it's been. Maybe a month and a half or so. Kind of after the aftermath of some things that came up in the RCS. We were looking to see where we would be a good fit. We took a look at the RWCS, the Reddit War Clan system. We also looked at potentially just kind of remaining independent. But we were really drawn to the Reddit Alliance because it was an affiliation, but one that didn't really require impose any demands on us or any requirements really, so we could kind of just go about our business.
It sounds like they're just kind of a I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there, Various. Just seems to me that it seems like it's just kind of a loose association that lets you guys kind of keep the culture of the clan the way you want it, and just kind of work together to arrange scrims and stuff, which is pretty awesome. I mean, most of the time, like you said, like people want a set of rules to join their association and stuff like that, and to be able to keep your own culture and to be able to keep your own system in place and not have to conform to somebody else. I think that's pretty good way to run something. So, Various, what was your thoughts on that? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
You're cool. You pretty much said exactly what I was going to say. It's run by the community. It's run by all the clans itself. There's no overarching governing body like there was in RCS making rules and stuff you have to follow and conform to, which it can always be a good thing. But if things aren't kept up to date and fresh and people aren't willing to make changes, then bad things happen and things crumble.
Yeah, I was actually part of Reddit Lithium during the whole meltdown with the RCS, the first round before the RWCS, RWCS happened. So I was kind of in the mix as far as what goes on, what happened the first time around when Reddit Troopers, Reddit Lithium, and the Reddit Royals disappeared from the group. So I totally understand where you guys were coming from about being having rules dictated to you that didn't quite fit what worked for you guys.
Yeah, and ultimately that's kind of how it felt. We were after Royals and Kings and Troopers and Lithium and Angels and all these other clans left. We kind of looked around and really didn't see any other clans that were interested in kind of playing the game that we did. And by that I mean kind of, you know, really strong war clans or competitive clans that were highly active. And this became apparent pretty quickly. We would, look around for some syncs within the Reddit system, and the wars were always fun, but they weren't always very competitive. And not any fault of the other clan. It's just, they approached the game very differently than we did. And so we were looking for a system or a community really that we would fit in well with, that would really kind of complement our play style, really.
Cool. I guess while we're talking about communities and associations, various, would you like to talk about the association of Reddit Raiders with the Fair Play community,
Yeah,
or even your own personal opinions of the Fair Play community, if you want?
no problem. I will probably actually embarrass one of our members by doing this right now, but and I don't know if the rest of the clan even knows this, but our own wifette, she goes out there and gets on Bindle, gets on Kick, gets online. She pretty much goes out and talks to everybody, gets in these fair play like war rooms, like the Bindle rooms, and does everything to find us matches. And I don't know if the whole clan realizes that like she comes up with like 90-95% of her syncs alone. Like we as leaders may do one here or there, it seems like, but she pretty much comes up with them all. And then I'll get like a DM from her, so and so talked to so and so today from blah, 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 and they want to set up a match and they say they're fair play. And she sets it all up, puts me in a room with them or other elders, and we start swapping weights and go from there. But she really is like our one man wrecking crew with like the fair play community and getting stuff set up, and pretty much keeps us all abreast of everything that's going on in there. So I don't know if she likes to admit it, but now everybody's going to know. And I can see chat giving her crap for it now, too.
Yeah, actually, that's how I met you guys to begin with. Was wife had actually made a post on, or actually contacted me after I had posted for Steal the Glory to start doing some arranged matchups. I really wasn't expecting anybody to respond that quickly, and there was wifette knocking on my door. Hey, you want to do a matchup? Well, our weights are a little lighter than what you guys have in Reddit Raiders right now, so we're more online with what you got in Reddit Rangers. So maybe that's something we can look into a little ways down the road. But
Definitely, I think they would love that. And I think that's where, she's really opened the doors and educated a lot of us, and she has her ear to the ground through. She's kind of does like, these other like Clash Babes type of wars within the all girl clans that like people might have seen on the One Hive Raids videos. And so she has like her fingers everywhere and keeps us abreast of like all the stuff going on, all the rumors, whatever. So it's a good thing. And then I think you get your clan out there, you start talking to people like we do you. We ended up on this, this Twitch stream here, and we talked to other people in rooms, then you talk to so-and-so, and, now we kind of have a semi-relationship, it seems like, with One Hive, where we ask them questions about people and, learn things and stuff like that. So, it's just about connecting and networking and finding the good people, that can actually give you good information that are also trustworthy.
that's the big thing. I mean, trying to find people that you can actually trust, talk to, and not point you in the wrong direction.
Right.
So how about you, Frank? What has your opinion been of the fair play community?
Yeah, I think it was a very very much needed and appropriate development. In the war scene, it's almost like. After Wars came out, and after the third party apps or whatever kind of blew up and everything, it was like some clans would be, if you want to make an analogy to like car racing, some clans were racing with like twin turbos in the engine, and others were naturally aspirated, and so they weren't competing on the same level. And so I don't, personally, I don't care much for shaming the clans that choose to play that way. That's the way they choose to play the game, and that's fine. The only issue for me is again when the two meet, and one clan is at an obvious disadvantage. And so I really think the fair play community has filled an important niche, really in Clash of Clans in the war scene, and I'm happy it's there. I'm glad because it brings us these awesome competitive wars. And you can feel reasonably confident that both clans are competing on equal grounds.
Yeah, that was one thing that like you said, it fills a real good niche. I mean, it's people want to compete against each other and they want to make sure that the playing field's level. So, to be able to get with like-minded people is just awesome. I mean, you know that you're gonna. Halligan, sorry. But yeah, to get on the same page as other people that are like-minded.
And I think I've definitely also noticed that it seems to be the fair play community seems to take the game with a little more maturity, which is nice, and you find better people and stuff that you seem to form relationships with. Because I think we came off of our win with One Hive, and was the biggest high of my Clash career, and then our next match, we got another really tough, ranked war clan. And they were a no modding clan, and they beat us down. And that's one of the hardest things, I think, for me, because it's so deflating for me personally, where I'm like, it's so obvious when they're modding, and, you drop a couple barbs on the Town Hall 10, and you're one of the last ranked guys, and then someone comes in an hour later and threes one of your 10s. And I think that's one of the hardest things for me, where I definitely enjoy the fair play community, because you can tell when you war a clan like War Whales, and you can tell they're fair play, and they seem to be a good sense of guys, and they send us a message beforehand. And I really hope something comes out in ClashCon that makes this better, makes it more fair, or range of matchups or something, so we can make this better and grow.
Yeah, definitely. Anything that helps make people work together a little more, makes it possible to connect easier, I think would be a huge benefit at coming out of ClashCon.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping that it's addressed. We've all been spurned by Supercell in the past, so I don't want to get my hopes up too high, but I am definitely hoping that they address it.
Okay, so let's see here. Frank, speaking of One Hive, you guys recently had that matchup with One Hive. Could you tell us what happened and how that match ended?
Yeah, it was pretty neat how it came about. So actually, we both us and One Hive had a kind of an arranged match kind of fall through, and Wifet, with her awesome connections, happened to be in a chat with some guys from One Hive, and after their arranged scrim fell through, I think this was on a Wednesday, and the arrangement was for Friday. They contacted Wifet and said, "Hey, would raiders like to have a sync with us?" And for us, this was a wonderful opportunity. Not necessarily for winning or losing, but just for the experience to face a clan of that caliber, really bases of that caliber. And so we jumped right on that. They're a little bit heavier than us, so we worked out weights. They sent a few players to our clan. We actually sent a few raiders over to One Hive just to make the sync work out. And unfortunately, despite the numerous hours we put into trying to get it to match, we didn't. One of the clans ended up matching and within something stupid like 30 seconds, whereas the other clans searched, One Hive I think searched for half an hour. So it didn't work out, and so we sent all the players back home, and I guess since we were on somewhat of a similar schedule there, after that failed sync, we then happened to randomly match. I think it was 35 versus 35. No, I think it was 40 v 40. It was just, we were completely shocked, honestly, because we had, at least we had one extra Town Hall 10, and I think three or four extra 9.5s. So it was really, really, obviously not a fair matchup, but for whatever reason, Supercell threw us in there with them.
That's pretty awesome, though, that you fought him toe to toe like that. Though, I mean, and won. I mean, I've been in a couple matches with them, and they are tough. When we caught them with Reddit Lithium, they were hitting on all cylinders, and I think they were 3-ing us. I think their first 17 attacks, they 3-starred.
Wow. Yeah, they were super impressive. I mean, the quality and variety really of their attacks was so impressive, and to lose by 2 with the Town Hall disadvantage that they had is speaks volume to their skill level and really their ability to just fight through whatever adversity.
How about you, Various? What did you think about the recent One Hive matchup?
Oh God, that was amazing. That was like a dream come true. Like I used to go to sleep like watching videos in Clash and stuff like that, and my girlfriend would always get annoyed because I'm sitting there with like the iPad in bed and she's trying to go to sleep, and I'm sitting there like watching videos or Jake or something like that, and so I actually had to text her afterwards and send her a picture of us winning, and like she knew like how much that actually meant to me and stuff like that, because you grow up, you see these, and I have been following One Clive since Hulk mentioned them, and I was like their 150th subscriber or something like that, so I've been watching them forever. So you grow up kind of watching your heroes, and then you face them, and you start kind of figuring out partway through this that you actually kind of have a shot at this. Like we went into it like, all right, we're going to put up a good fight, kind of like we did with Clash Heads. We're not going to get run over or anything. But then we started getting through this. And we're like, hey, we got a shot at this, and our confidence started growing. And they still even I think they 3'd some amazing amount of like first attack 3-stars, like 12 out of 15 or something crazy that we were watching. And you're watching these cool, crazy attacks go on against your own clan, but you're still over there, like, kind of rooting for it, silently going, like, this is such an awesome attack. Like, you just want to see if it works. And then you kind of realize halfway through it, you're like, oh, crap, this was against my own clan. But, that was like, that was like winning the Super Bowl championship, like, all for me, all in one, where I was like, man, am I done after this? Is there anything I can do to ever top this in my Clash career? So, like, I actually contemplated it, like, especially going in the next couple days when we faced the Modding clan right after them. Like I was like, am I done? Like, do I want to go out? And I really thought about it for like a day or two there. I was like, what else can I do after this? That was such a great feat. Like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore because it'll never get any better than it was right now.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, you think you've hit the pinnacle at that point, and you're not really sure if you want to keep going or be a Brett Favre and just keep going until you can't anymore, or what?
Yeah, and I really think the icing on the cake was just really the attitude that the guys over at One Hive had. We were in a chat with them, since we were trying to arrange the sync, and they were just, really gracious, even in defeat. They congratulated us. They weren't bitter or salty at all. And so that they were great, and we're still in a chat with them, and we're hoping to do a sync down the road where it's a little bit more even. But yeah, it was a great experience all around.
That's pretty awesome. And speaking of the whole matchup, Frank, I heard Reddit Raiders asked to be removed from the TWC rankings, top 4 community rankings list, after just being added. For, I mean, knocking off One Hive, that's a pretty impressive thing. So,
yeah.
Why would you want to take your name off that list?
Well, to begin with, I was actually pretty surprised when I found out we were listed. I think it was probably Wyfed or maybe some other member who brought it to my attention, because I had never really paid attention to those rankings before. And so when I discovered that we were ranked, I thought that was pretty neat. There's some acknowledgement from the community, of defeating One Hive, obviously. And after thinking about it, for a little while, and I actually took a look at the rankings and realized, 9 out of 10 of these clans are, openly openly mod and or openly allow modding in their clans. And so, what are the chances, one of us really sticking on that list, and two, do we want to really kind of put a target on our back for these clans? And that would be perfectly fine if all the clans on that list, were also fair play. But to have a target on your back and know you're going to be, perhaps hunted by clans who aren't going to compete with you on the same level, then it seems like an exercise really in futility. And so, I asked Yfet first, to have us removed, or to ask to have us removed, and she went ahead and did that. The other thing is, for us, the ranking is nice, but it's not really why we play the game. It's not really why we put so much effort into warring and all of that. We do it because we're all competitive, and it's a lot of fun to win. It's a lot of fun to challenge yourself, and that's really what's important to us. We could care less if we're ranked 1 or 250. We're still gonna, if you're ranked number 1 and we happen to match with you, we're still gonna give you our best shot. So it makes no difference to us.
And that's a pretty awesome attitude to have, about not really caring. You're more in it for the play than the ranking.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you, Various? What was your thoughts on when you heard that you had made the rankings and then asked to be removed?
I was really stoked at first because I was a little like, I watched the rankings and stuff, just keep an eye on the top clan, see who's moving in case we ever get matched or something like that. But I never followed it hardcore or watched the little tournaments and stuff like that. But we have friends and other clans that are ranked on there. So it was cool. I was honored that we got on there, by beating them. And I was really stoked and happy. And then I kind of did what, I was kind of with Frank, where you kind of start looking at the list and you're like, huh, like who do we have a shot at here when, you see other great clans getting perfected by other clans on there. And then, like through Yfet, asked one of the guys that runs the rankings, so like, who else on here is fair play? And he gave us 2 other clans besides One Hive that he knew of. And it was kind of like, really? Like, that's it? Like, why is there not, like, and then I asked the question back through Wife. It was like, why is there not a fair play ranking clan, list? And he came back with a great answer. He was like, people can say that they're fair play and they're really not. And it could all just be one big lie. And, people do whatever they need to do to move up the rankings. I was like, all right, that's a great answer. And then, we all started talking about it in Elder Chat. And I think Frank was actually the one to bring it up first. And we all agreed it was like a great idea and to get removed because I don't know, do you want to get hunted by clans where it's just almost demoralizing or you have no shot? Sure, you get great bases and it's a challenge and stuff like that, but it's like Frank said, we play for fun and to win, and it doesn't matter what number we're ranked or what number they're ranked, but we just want to have a good matchup and a great matchup that's from 2 well-respected clans that are fighting fairly or evenly is probably a better way to put it.
That was similar to the response I got from Duce. And speaking of Duce, he just joined us in chat. He was pretty much of the same mind. One Hive also had asked to be removed from the TWC rankings, and his opinion was pretty much the same. That it wasn't fun for them to go up against clans that would cheat to win, and that they knew they didn't have a chance to beat. So
yeah, and I think it's so, I don't know, it's weird that it was like we took this turn a few months ago, kind of like when Clash Nerds came out and made this turn, and they were like, yeah, we mod, we want to be competitive, we changed as a clan to be, we want to remain competitive, we changed as a clan, said we're now going to openly mod. And kind of since then, to me, it felt like a door opened and it became such just a normal thing that you see on streams now, or war recaps, or you see ghosting, or you see whatever, and it's just like, it's so socially accepted now. It's almost just, it's weird and it's sad at the same time, because it's kind of like, they choose to play it that way, that's cool, that's fine, they can do whatever they want. But then there's the other half of us that choose to play this way, and it's sad when you kind of see the two mix, and you see a great clan like One Hive get perfected, and you're just like, really, like, I don't know if I really count that crap, because how many times did you do that, or how many times did you practice, or whatever you did. Like you're just playing, like, it's just a whole nother game on a whole different level at that point, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for me and maybe for our clan, really, it was probably when our eyes were really open. I think it was, I'm looking at our war log here, it was 86 days ago. So about 3 months ago, we faced this clan War Gods BR. Um, and when we matched them, we were looking over their bases, we're like, oh, these guys look pretty good. And then I think some of us were in chats with other guys talking about this matchup, and they're like, oh, well, this is a modding clan. They're on the top war clan or top war community list. They're working their way up, and we witnessed these guys copy our bases and mod the hell out of us. And I remember at that time getting so frustrated, and really contemplating whether I even wanted to continue to kind of push our clan in that direction to excel in war, because if this is the kind of matchup we're going to get where we don't even have a chance, then do I really want to participate in this all this frustration that you're going to go through in losing and knowing that you can't win. So our eyes were really open then, and since then, again, for me, as long as we're not being we're not in those matchups frequently, and we're not targeted or anything like that, then I'm perfectly content. They can, it's kind of, for me, it's the live and let live. If that's how they want to play, that's fine. Just don't get into it with or don't compare yourselves really to the clans that don't play that way, because it's not a fair comparison.
And yeah, I think that was a turning point for me too, because that was like, I remember we were watching that war, and then we were watching the other clan, and we were watching their farming bases, and then pretty much you started seeing all of our war bases being like set as their farm bases, and they're just tweaking things, and you're just like, okay. And it got pretty frustrating after a while, and they kicked our ass pretty hard, and I think that was definitely an eye-opener, a turning point for us, where it was like, all right, this is a whole nother level that these guys are on compared to us. And it was eye-opening. It was a very different way of thinking that I had to look at now, of like, okay, so this is what it's like on the other side of the fence, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, it's really frustrating seeing that. I mean, you sit there and you spend the hours building your base, and taking the time and talking and planning out everything, and then somebody just sits down and attacks it over and over and over and over again until they break your base, and it just doesn't feel fair. I mean, it's like, okay, you did this over and over again until you figured it out, and me, I've got one shot at it and I figured it out.
Yeah, and for me, it takes out kind of the fun of it too. The nerves, especially in like big wars where you really need this 3-star, and your hands are shaking or sweaty or whatever, and and for us in Elder chat, we're all like yelling at each other, don't forget Queen ability and things like that. It takes some of the human element out of it. Well, it takes for some clans it takes it completely out of it, for the the clans that script or whatever. But it takes a fun part of it. It takes adrenaline out of it for me.
Yeah, it can. It's just because you get hyped about that big war, and then it's just like, this isn't even fair. I mean, you can't even compare it to a war like against One Hive or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like you're playing two different games.
Yeah.
So and the other thing is that kind of bothers me is sometimes the modders and fair play guys will get into it, and all the trolls will come out, and that's kind of another ugly piece of it too, is that it can really drag the community down into a place where it's just not productive for anyone at all. You get into these shouting contests, and who mods, who doesn't, and ultimately there are the clans that openly mod, and there are the clans that aren't going to allow that kind of crap in there, and when it turns into a witch hunt, it gets really ugly, and it's something that I hate to see when it happens. and again, this is something that's probably not going to go away until we can know for sure, the people that use these third-party apps and those that don't.
And I think the last two modding clans we faced too, they've definitely, thrown some shots over the wall at us and stuff. And I would like to think that they were unprovoked. And it was kind of just like, what, why are you? It's obvious you mod. You guys admit you mod. You're openly admitting it on the stream right now. Why are you guys kind of being jerks about it? And or you have them saying things afterwards or during it, or and it's just kind of like, that's great. That's real mature. Like, I know you just practiced my base 34 times, so good for you that you can now 3-star it. But do you really need to talk crap on top of it? Because I really don't think it's just stupid to me if you're like, some 17-year-old kid that's going to practice my base 37 times or whatever, and then you're going to talk crap to me about it. I'm just like, I really don't get the point. I just think that is immature. I don't know. It was very, I think it was also interesting to me after we beat One Hive, all the comments and all the, the flack that we almost took from, general public and people that we didn't know, that was kind of like, this is what, big clans have to deal with. And I had to take a step back myself because I got in an argument with one guy on comments, and I was just like, okay, I got to stop this. I know I'm right. I know you're an idiot. I just got to grow up and act my age at this point, and just had to walk. And I had to just stop reading the comments because I was just getting so, flared up about everything. I was just like, oh, whatever.
You mean fanboys coming out and...
Yeah, it was just fanboys and bad comments and stuff and then people accusing us of modding, and that was the only way you can ever beat One Hive and all this stuff. And it was just the nature of people that came at us in such a negative way really was shocking to me. And I was just kind of like, I know the internet, I work in IT. I know the internet's full of trolls, but I guess I just didn't expect that much just crap from people.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. I use Twitter to promote this channel and my show a lot, and just the amount of trolls on there just from following other people, and I couldn't even imagine being like Jake or something and having to bite my tongue during some of those stupid comments he gets. So I really my hat's off to him and all the guys that have to deal with this in One Hive, all the trolls that come out and want to slam them.
Yeah, and I think that ultimately the best way to deal with it is just to ignore it. The clans that want to be fair play are going to do what needs to be done in order to ensure that their clan remains, fair play. We've, in Raiders, I know that we've had people kind of rat on themselves accidentally and they're booted immediately. We've had others who we've had to kind of dig in and investigate them, and then then they get the boot that way. It's a lot of work, but you feel like you have to do it, otherwise you get caught in these accusations, and then things just devolve from there.
Or a huge update comes out, and all of a sudden they suck completely, and you're like, now, okay, now I see what was going on here.
Well, yeah. See, that's where I'm in a good spot, because I suck now, and I know I'll suck after the update, so...
Consistency, it's a great thing.
That's right. You set that bar real low, it's not hard to miss it.
There you go.
Yeah, it's always funny when you see those guys, who suck after an update, and they're like, "Oh, I must be in a slump." It's like, yeah, okay, buddy.
Right.
There's the door.
There's that 27% in a row, over and over.
That's the thing. The last one before they put that kibosh on the modders, 2 wars before that I started a slump. So it was like, okay, well, you saw my last 2 wars worth of attacks, so obviously I'm not modding just because the update came out.
Yeah. But, ultimately, I think, it's great that there are clans that are dedicated to that play style, and, where we've scheduled, 5 or 6 scrims here now with other clans that are also fair play, so we're gonna hopefully have a good stretch here where we'll have a series of just really fun scrims and everything, and that'll be very helpful for us.
So do you want to go ahead and talk about some of those scrims that you guys have got coming up, or I mean, kind of plug your some of the matchups you got, or is it kind of still hush hush?
No, it's not. I wouldn't say it's hush hush at all. We have we've got Santam Ali coming up here, which is a really fun war for us for many reasons. Obviously they're a very good fair play clan, but they also have lots of members that were in Reddit Elements, a clan that we're very close with. They were our kind of a sister clan behind the curtains in the RWC, or in the RCS rather, since sister clans weren't really allowed, but we had a very close relationship with them, so it'll be fun to face those guys. We've also have been talking to, let's see, we've got Skyrim Legends, or well, go ahead.
I was going to say Cold September, Skyrim Legends, Kara's Heroes is coming up too.
Oh, wow.
Kara Heroes, yeah. We've been talking, to several of these clans, hoping to get things together. And of course, we'd like to face, One Hive again at some point with even Town Hall numbers, and same with War Whales, who we just finished up with. It was a random match, and we had a Town Hall advantage in that war too. And those guys were incredible with their attacks.
They were definitely like, we knew they were going to be good, but they definitely came out swinging really hard. I was very impressed with them.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're looking forward to getting some of these scrims going, and even mixed scrims, are a lot of fun. So Wifette participates in a lot of those. She's an honorary member of the Clash Babes, and so she gets to participate in some pretty interesting scrims as well.
So, Various, I know Steel the Glory, our clan here in the Clash Files family, that's our war clan. We've been starting to look for matchups. What kind of advice can you give to clans that are looking to start doing matchups, aside from stealing Wifette away from you?
No, that's what I was going to say. Like, seriously, you get yourself like a chief marketing officer like Wifette, and you just unleash her at like a Kraken and let her go find them, basically. That's all that we, like, she asked one day, like, can we do that? Or can, like, I go talk? Yeah, go ahead. Go talk to people. Get some, and, like, she just went off. So, yeah, find someone that has that, like, that likes talking to other people, that likes being social, that is outgoing, and, just you find one room, you get another room, you keep going, you make friends, and you just keep talking and asking, and you just keep going from there. Like, I have no idea how much time she spends on those chats, but God, it's got to be a lot, is my guess. More than I could ever do myself. But yeah, find a Wifette, whoever that is.
I was going to say, I think I've seen her in several chats, just because I'm in a lot of chats myself. I trying to, find new guests and find people for the show, and, try to make sure I'm representing our community as pretty well out there. I'm in a lot of chats, so I've seen her in several chats, and it's like, oh, she's in here too?
She's everywhere is what we've pretty much learned. The only place she's not is in our elder chat.
Yep, that's the one place we've managed to keep her out of, but she's a social monster. She just, anywhere where she can meet new people and talk and chat about Clash, she's there.
So your advice is just to pick up clone Wifette and have her.
Yeah, get a clone Wifette. Find your most, like, we have another guy in the chat there, Grizzly. He's the super chatty guy. You can borrow him. He'll go out and find a bunch of people for you as my guest too.
Okay, so let's see. Last one went to Various, so this one's for Frank. When you guys are learning new attacks, how do you learn new attacks? Are you watching other clanmates? Are you watching YouTube? What are you guys doing when you try something new?
Yeah, I would say I learn a lot. I expose, when a new technique comes out or anything like that, I try and gain as much exposure to it as possible. So, I'll consume all of the YouTube stuff, the major channels, the known channels, obviously, One Hive, and back when Hulk used to post videos, I'd watch a lot of his, and even some of the lesser known guys in other clans who post things. I watch all of those videos too. I watch a lot of videos, probably more than I care to admit, But um, it's very helpful to just see a new strategy used against lots of different bases, so you can learn, how to approach it in a base you're looking at. And honestly, I learn a lot from watching the other guys in our own clan. Um, we have. I'm at Town Hall 10 now, so the game is incredibly difficult, and so it's really helpful to have a good bunch of Town Hall 10s and raiders that I can honestly learn a lot from. Um, and so I watch my own clanmates. I watch the YouTube videos. Um, if we have a relatively easy war, I'll throw out some crazy strat just for the hell of it to see how it lands. Um, so there's lots of different ways to go about it. One way that's also been very helpful to me is even when I'm farming, sometimes I'll just cook up some healers and some loons and some crazy stuff and just throw something at a base and see what happens, just to learn troop behavior and all of that stuff. So there's lots of ways to go about it.
Okay.
And I do like the same thing as Frank. Like I watch way more videos than I care to admit. Like when I'm at work, I usually have like one monitor up just watching YouTube videos. So when people walk by me, they just think I'm slacking off all day. But then like I even learned like we warred against like Reddit Ion, and there was some lithium and trooper guys in there. And one of the trooper guys, he hogged one of our like Town Hall 10 bases, Dragonflower, and 3'd it. And I was just like, oh my God, how did you do that? And ever since then, like that's pretty much all I've been doing is trying to hog 10s now, and seem to have far more success with it. But so sometimes I even learn just by watching someone else against us. But then like there's this guy in our clan, Eric, who's like amazing at like game and base theory and base building, and he sees things in this like weird fifth dimensional type thing when he looks at a base. Like he like drew up this like attack for Wi-Fi against like one hive where she hogged a base and used 0 heals, and she 3'd it and like destroyed the base, and it was just like, oh my God,
What?
like how do you do that? Like he picks apart the base and just sees it in like in these chunks and dimensions. So I always try to like look at things kind of like how he does. So even just learning it from different styles of people that you're in the clan with, of like, huh, I would have never thought of that. Like I saw one of our guys the other day where he did this like queen walk with a healer that into a hog on like a 10, and he 3'd it, and I was like, man, I've never thought about that. Like why have I never thought about that? And then like that opened my eyes to a bunch of things also too, where I'm just like, huh, all right. So learning from other people seems to work the best for me, even more than watching all the videos I watch.
In the chat, they're talking about that you hogged a base against Whale Wars.
Yeah.
For 3 stars.
Yeah.
What, how? All right. First off, you're a Town Hall 10, correct?
Yeah.
Was it another Town Hall 10?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, talk us through this. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about that attack? Like, what kind of was it? A stone go-ho, or was it?
Yeah, like it's almost like a standard attack, and this is where I learned it from. Like the leader of troopers when he was in the Ion War with us, and he did it against 2 of our 10s, and I was just like, and I'm in a chat with him. I was like, dude, how did you do that? And he kind of just explained to me the fundamentals of it. And you can bring in like, I don't know, you bring in like, usually I bring like 5 golems and like 6 wizards and a couple wall breakers, and you just funnel everything into like you take out kind of a side, and then you kind of enter into a corner on a Dragonflower base. And then what you're looking for, and you basically need to look for the right Dragonflower to where you can get all of your tanks in the middle, and you can take out usually the queen and the first Inferno with your rage as you're taking out the kill squad, as you're taking out the enemy CC with your kill squad. And if there's a hound there, it usually sucks because hounds take up so much time. But then you need enough time that you can get the rest of your kill squad into the base and soaking up the beams for the second Inferno tower. And then somewhere in that timing, you need to launch 15 to 20 hogs around the side of the Dragonflower while you're healing them. So by the time they get to the other Inferno, it's already down, or the beams are all soaked up. Or today I got lucky because my pathing went off, and they went and took out the Inferno for me. And you basically have the hogs run the ring around the base while everything is sitting in the middle tanking, trying to take it out for you. And it's like really, I don't know, like you can adjust it between swap out a golem for a P.E.K.K.A. or a couple giants or something, anything you basically need, as long as you can get it into the core And as long as you get the first Inferno down and you get to soaking up the second one, then you're usually good with it. And I have much more success with it than I ever did running like a Shattered like Lava Loon, basically.
Oh, okay. So it basically getting the tanks in there to cover the Infernos and then bringing in the Hogs to mop up.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like it's a weird like timing aspect, and that's where when I usually fail is that, and that's where I almost lost it today, is that I sent the Hogs too early, and they got to the Inferno before the rest of the tanks did, and luckily they took it down, and I got them in a heal right afterwards. But I got down to within 3 seconds on this raid to get it. Like, I totally didn't think I had it, and I even said in Elder Chat, I'm like, I don't got it in time. And all of a sudden, things started catching up, and I was like, oh my god, I got it! And I was super stoked and stuff. But yeah, it's like it's a much more fun attack for me and more versatile, and I can adjust off the fly versus like, I think the biggest thing that I've learned since I've come to Town Hall 10, it's the most frustrating, and I know it happened to Frank on his first raid. You drop something off by literally one square, like if you're off by a tile, your entire raid can just go to hell. And you're just like, you've planned it all out, you've sketched it up, you've mapped it out, you got your pathing, you've got it all figured out, and you're just like, all right, I'm ready to rock this thing. And then you drop one tile off because of whatever reason, the whole thing just goes down the toilet, and you're like, I hate Town Hall 10. And like, you just want to destroy it. Like, I was in a real slump with Town Hall 10 for a while, and I started a mini just for this reason. I'm like, my mini will never go to Town Hall 10. It will stay at Town Hall 9 forever. Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah, we call the Inferno. Various likes to call them the Devil Towers because he really thinks they are the devil.
They're just so insanely overpowered and just evil, and they are the devil of Town Hall 10, and they need to die.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, I want to go for the 3-star, but right now I've recently went to Town Hall 10, and so I'm only like an 80k as far as weight goes. So I'm still pretty much maxed out Town Hall 9, except for I did drop my Infernos just so I could make some matchups, so I wasn't getting excluded from arranged matchups. But
yeah, I think that is another hard thing, is we have like 3 9.5s right now, and then we have an 8.5, and getting all those guys in syncs is just impossible, especially like when, you know, one of our 9.5s has like a 40 queen and then like a 32 king, I think, and then the other 9.5 has like mid-high 30s and stuff, and then we have an 8.5 that's, you know, he's got like, I think like 15, 18 heroes or something like that, and he like weighs nothing. So getting those guys in syncs is impossible. It's like, just drop your bows, and so we can actually get you in some syncs, please.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you know, and that's the thing. You don't want to bring anything heavier than what you can kill, but, you know, you kind of get tired of getting sitting on the bench all the time. It's like, put me in, coach. Put me in, coach. It's like, I'm dropping them.
Definitely the case at Town Hall 10, which is why I went 9.5. Is just like, there's no way I'm jumping in there with my heroes. You know, they were I maxed Town Hall 9, so they were 30-30, but, you know, even the first 3-star attempt I tried with my 30-30 heroes, and they got squashed like bugs, and I'm like, there's no way I'm building the Inferno Towers before at least my queen is 40. Like, it's just a whole another level.
Yeah, I dropped them. I did upgrade I did start off as the 9.5 thing, and I did upgrade my golems. I upgraded my hounds. Once I got that and started working on my freeze, I went ahead and dropped them just because, like I said, I didn't want to be left out. I knew I could 2-star with those kind of troops, so I knew I could at least do that, and then go bully some Town Hall 9s if needed. So
yeah, and honestly, being able to reliably 2-star at Town Hall 10 is no small feat either. I mean, that's also quite difficult. So if you can do that, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Well, reliably, that might be a bit of a stretch, but I can do it. I'd say 50% of the time.
Yeah, and that's good. That's an asset. You know, again, in the kinds of wars that, you know, we participate in, 2-stars at Town Hall 10 is beating the base, and anything more is icing on the cake. So, and
I guess it kind of leads to another question: are you guys taking your 9s and having them go up to 2-star 10s to free up your 10s for some, other 3-star attacks?
We haven't done a whole lot of that, if only because, in many of the more difficult wars we've had the Town Hall advantage, so they didn't really need to do that. We just had a 10s go ahead and take it out with one attack, just to be safe. But it's something that we probably should get into the habit of doing a lot more. Again, in the fair play, wars that we come across, there's very rarely do you see kind of the typical anti-3 base that you'll see in a lot of the top war community clans and wars, and so a lot of time they're really strong anti-2s that are gonna require a Town Hall 10 anyway.
What about you, Various?
Pretty much the same exact answer, because I mean we've discussed it quite a few times, and I think we more discuss it. We discussed it a few times, like Frank said, and I think we more discuss it on the defensive end. Like when we get into a war with like one hive or war whales, it's like, do you put up a Dragonflower anti-3 base, where you can make it accessible for a Town Hall 9, or do us heavier guys near the top of the list, they're like weight 98 or 99 and stuff like that, do we just throw up an anti-2, force them to use a 10, and then have the lower guys? And that's kind of the way we've been running it lately, is us higher guys have been throwing up an anti-2 base, forcing a 10 to hit it, and then the lower 10s that don't have max defense, they run an anti-3 to make it tougher to get that 3 against them.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess while we're on the topic of war strategy, what is your guys' strategy? I mean, you don't have to give me exact details or anything, but what's your general strategy as far as filling war CCs now that the poison spells just kind of negated Clan Castle troops?
Yeah, we the guy Various was talking about earlier, Eric. I mean, he could go on and on about the poison spell. It's probably the thing he hates the most about this game. That and healers, although he's taken a liking to healers. Yeah, the CCs are very interesting nowadays. It's always an interesting decision that you have to make. We try to vary our CCs really. We never want too many of the same thing. Except for at Town Hall 10, where clearly in most instances a Hound is going to be the best option. At Town Hall 9, we have we're a lot more flexible. We try different things. I think when the poison spell first came out, we played around with healers to see if that might negate the poison spell or something like that. It didn't work, obviously, but we've played around with it, and we try some different things. Really, I think we try and match the CC to the base. So if it's a good centralized CC, then we want we might throw in some loons or some dragons in there. That might screw up the kill squad. If the CC is a little bit more easily accessible, then we might throw in some different things. So, we try different things from time to time, and ultimately, if it's not heavy, it's going to get killed by a poison spell in most cases. But sometimes it's a good thing to force the poison spell too, especially if you're using ground skellies. So there's some way to mess with the attacker for sure.
And I think we do try to force the poison spell on the CC almost every time, which I think is a good thing. But we definitely watch a lot of our replays and stuff like that. I know, like this war, I don't remember who it was now, but I shot out to someone in GroupMe where I was like, your CC did not work because they had way too lighted stuff in there, and I watched it like 2-3 times, and the poison spell just wrecked it before anything had even happened. But it's interesting because I kind of thought the poison spell was OP before, and then with this update, it made it even worse. You just kind of have to use it, just deploy it a little bit differently and stuff. But it's interesting because I'm just, with the poison spell, I'm not going to say I missed lightning, but I guess I missed, when you saw some guy try to lightning your CC and they missed, and you're like, oh yay, the witch is still up, like that was a great time, and you were happy about that. Now it's kind of like, you throw it in there, and it pretty much is what it is. Like, I know a hound's coming out at me 99% of the time as a Town Hall 10, and it's kind of boring to deal with. And you're like, I would like to see something a little bit different once in a while.
Wifette says in chat, let's talk about the hole in our bases.
Yeah, we got a few instances with a few guys with a few holes in their bases lately, and they took a lot of grief for that. But I was guilty of that in a synced war myself, like a month or so ago. So I can't say too much crap about it. But at least I fixed it when I was told, Alex. But whatever.
Yeah, that's funny. I'm so paranoid about that. I will like literally remove all of my traps and like just click on random structures to make the border or the boundary come up so I can check for holes, because I think it was actually this war against war whales where there was like 5 minutes left into the war, and I definitely had a pretty sizable hole in my base, and I was like, wow, it's too close for comfort. You get paranoid about it.
Yeah, I had a base that I had built, and I went and was looking at it one last time before the war or whatever, and I was like, oh, you know what? I probably ought to move that sweeper over one spot. I dropped it down, and I had a Tesla right next to it or whatever. Didn't see the hole pop up underneath it. Had everything get dumped through that hole and wrecked my base.
Yeah, that's just a bad day when you see that happen. You're just like, I'm just going to hang my head in shame now and go away and pray no one watches this interview or this review in the entire clan.
Yeah, or pray that the enemy clan doesn't realize that you have this hole and exploit it. So
yeah.
So you guys are near max. There's light at the end of the tunnel for you guys. Where are you guys' heroes at?
I'm at max 4. I'm at 40-40.
You're at 40-40?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I am at 40-34. Actually, I got my queen to 40 in pretty quickly, like within 2 or 3 weeks of hitting Town Hall 10, just because I had so much downtime. And I've slowed down with the king, which has probably ruined a few raids for me. But just because my schedule is so busy now, and I focus a lot of my energy and efforts on running the clan and everything, and it doesn't hinder me that much that he's not maxed. Again, there are certainly some raids I wish he was, but it hasn't held me back too much, and I'll work on him probably at some point when I have a 3 or 4 day weekend or something like that, and bump out a few levels.
So do you? This question be for you, Frank, since Various already has his heroes maxed, so he doesn't have to worry about this. Do you war without your heroes?
At Town Hall 10, absolutely not. It's hard enough with both heroes. With one down, you're gonna have a hard time even two-starring at Town Hall 10. Obviously I could probably take out a couple of 9s, but then I'd be a handicap, to the clan. And so if I put my heroes down, I always gem them for war.
Okay. Now, what is Reddit Raiders' general policy as far as warring without heroes? Do you recommend it? Do you frown upon it? I mean, what's the general consensus?
Well, at Town Hall 10, we strongly discourage guys from attacking, even trying to two-star with a hero down. We have one guy, Cooper, who's gotten pretty good at it only because he wasn't good at following instructions, and so he'd always have a hero down, and he actually got pretty good at two-starring with one hero somehow, but he doesn't do that very often anymore. At Town Hall 9, we're okay with guys warring with a hero down. We try and compensate for that a little bit. We'll let them, we have war ranges, so every body in the clan has a range in which they're supposed to do at least their first attack. And so if you have a hero down at Town Hall 9, we'll let you attack a little bit lower just to compensate for the missing hero. But you'd be surprised that most of our guys, time their updates or upgrades to coincide with our optional war. on Fridays, and so they don't. If they do gem, it's not very much. And other guys are just, they don't care. They just gem and they're hardcore and all about that. So
Yeah, we even have one Town Hall 9 that as soon as he upgrades his heroes, he gems the time instantly right away because he hates living without his heroes for even a second. I'm just like, you're crazy, but okay. Before I had Max, when I was a 9, I used to, if it was a tough war, I would definitely gem one of them up if I had one of them down or something like that. But at Town Hall 10, it became, I think, like once in my life, it was a very premature 10. It had Devil Towers, but it had still, Town Hall 8 and 9 defenses that I 3'd it. But, as a Town Hall 10, trying to 3 a base it's just damn near impossible without both heroes up.
Yeah, it's definitely a big, big handicap.
and, even at max 9, I would say it's pretty hard to do it, unless you've got like a CC like a hound where you don't really need your queen anyway, or something like that. If you can compensate for whichever hero is down, but otherwise it's still pretty difficult.
All right, let's see here. So what we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. What do you guys think or hope would be the big thing to come out of ClashCon? Let's go ahead and start with Various.
God, I hope arranged wars or sync wars or something along those lines where like two clans can, like, my dream is somehow where it's like, hey, we want to war One Hive again. Like, somehow we send them a request. They can accept or deny the request, and you can figure out a date or time or somehow, and Supercell can do some magic so it makes it an even matchup, so we don't have to sit here with Excel spreadsheets or use Clash tools as program to do matchups, but something like that. And then, God, I don't know if I care about Town Hall 11. I just know I don't want more walls to do and max out, but I think that's my big thing is, like, I need them to do. We put so many hours into like syncs for matchups and stuff. I think we tried for that One Hive matchup. I'm guessing we probably put 10 hours. It seems like within like a little over 24 hours trying to figure out weights and talking and syncing people, and then we missed the matchup, and you're just like so heartbroken. And we've tried 2 Civil Wars lately where we've missed matches. So I would like to see that where you can say, I want to war these guys, and they accept it. You figure out some way and do it, and that's all I really care about. If Town Hall 11 comes out, whatever, that's cool. If it makes it easier for me to 3-star Town Hall 10, unless there's some real draw to go to Town Hall 11, I don't know if I'll ever go, because Town Hall 10 is just hard enough as it is. If they give me a 3rd Devil Tower at Town Hall 11, I will definitely never go.
So what about you, Frank? What do you think?
Yeah, I think probably the most important update for me would definitely be some way to arrange wars in a way that the war farming clans can't abuse it, so they can't match their own clan repeatedly and just tie every time or something like that, because then that would that just wouldn't be in the spirit of the game. But other than that, I'd like to see perhaps a little bit more consistent AI for the queen. I mean, it's improved a lot, but there are still times where she'll shoot a wall to hit something that she can hit over the wall, or she'll shoot at a structure behind another structure that seems to perhaps in the game's logic is closer, but if you're looking at the screen, it's clearly not closer. So there are still some tweaks in AI that I'd like to see. And other than that, I think a new troop would be pretty cool too.
Don't forget the Tesla Queen trap that still seems to be a bug that we experienced like a week ago, which sucked for us.
Are you guys still seeing that? I mean, I haven't seen it happen. Somebody said something about a witch getting stuck in a wall recently.
That's entertaining. Was that the One Hive match where we saw the Queen get stuck in the Tesla? I don't remember, but it was like a week ago.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They definitely do not need to touch though is the wall breaker AI, because I remember when they tried to fix that, and they just made it so much worse. And I think it's fine the way it is. And just don't mess with it, please.
If they're gonna fix the AI on that, I wish they'd just go straight again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'd
that
much
would
better, 'cause
be very easy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, and then you just go back to the days of 14 wall breakers and rage them and have a nice day.
Yeah.
Rage all those wall breakers on a defenseless or something.
Yeah.
Right.
My thoughts on that would be, I think they're going to roll out something like a little 5-on-5 or 10-on-10 matchup, kind of like they've been doing with the. I don't know if you guys have been following any of the Tokyo or Korean Invitational that they were doing. I think they might be going to something like that, where they do a little 5-on-5 scrim sort of deal. I would like to see a new Dark Troop or something that maybe absorbs some of that Inferno, or I'm sorry, Devil Tower.
There you go.
Sucks up some of them Devil Tower beams, and doesn't get fried as easily. But other than that, I don't really see anything other than the matching that I can really. But Supercell has a way of surprising us all. I didn't think I'd need wars, and now I'm addicted. So.
Yeah, although I always thought it was interesting that the game was called, Clash of Clans, and there was no way to actually face another clan when it first came out. So I was really looking forward to the wars. But yeah, I think the arranging of wars would be pretty neat. And the only other thing, and this is a relatively minor thing I'd like to see, but it is a way to kind of differentiate, your members from like a new person in the clan. Perhaps like a brand spanking new person in the clan can't look at like war bases